I am not actively contemplating writing a book. And if I were to write a book, I would not write a book on mortgage banking. I would probably write a book on how to create a great successful organization.
Stan, Kurland, and I were married 40 plus years. We had the best family and the best life together. And it was cut too short when he got a brain tumor.
You know, the thing about Stan is it wasn't about the moment or the first time you met him. It was more about the 100th or 1,000th time, because he was just a really wonderful, special human being to be around. The more time you spent with him, the more you realized it.
I've said this numerous times, but Stan, to me, always pushed you to greatness. Then you took the uniform off, and he's just the nicest, most genuine, awesome person. He's the best.
Knowing Stan the way I did, when I heard it, I thought of losing somebody like that was very upsetting. So I don't know, it was very hard.
My dad really wanted to give back, and he didn't want anyone to experience what he had to go through. He didn't want anyone to experience waiting for an MRI bed if that's what we needed to raise money for. He didn't want people not to get into trials that needed to get into trials. So the Kurland Family Foundation, the SLK tournament, the whole goal is that we can raise money for these doctors who are doing the research. They have the trials. And this money will directly go to finding a cure for this terrible disease.
There's so many words to try to describe Stan because he's so many different things. I remember we were presenting the idea here, what we wanted to do. We had a planned 30-minute, talk, and we were probably 2 minutes into it. He goes, "I know what you want to do. I get it. How much money do you need?" That's the kind of person that he was. A very complex problem like brain cancer. He could pick up what the issues were, know what we were trying to do, and then ready to move.
My interactions with Stan were incredibly meaningful, and what I thought was pretty remarkable was, despite his condition and despite it being a terminal diagnosis, that he was fully committed towards this cause of bringing more resources and funds to be able to treat glioblastoma, even though it was not going to impact his own tumor.
One of the hard things is for people to really understand how much we have to dig in to get this right, and how much money that costs to do that.
This is a disease that really there haven't been tremendous medical improvements in for probably decades. The pharmaceutical companies and the biotech and all the rest of it are not investing their own money into cures for it. And so the only way that we're going to have cures for this is if people like us write the checks.
This is important stuff. There isn't a ton of resourcing dedicated to this, but the minds putting this all together are some of the most brilliant. This is an amazing cause, and I really, really hope that people take this seriously and do what they can.
UCLA has a really unique model for conducting drug discovery, but also developing new drug therapies. And I think that's one of the things that, was presented to us that got Stan locked into this concept of supporting the UCLA team.
And now, with all the money that we're raising tonight and for this weekend, it's just incredible. I mean, we're seeing the results already, and they're making real breakthroughs just in 2 years.
To see such a horrible disease take over your brain, and that's everything, was
horrendous. So we're hoping with everybody's donations, all the charity, all the love and effort put into this with the doctors, that sometime in our lifetime we'll get to see progress that my father couldn't see and his mother couldn't see, and somebody doesn't have to lose a parent.
I lost my husband, Marc Becker, to brain cancer at 37 years old. Marc had a grand mal seizure out of nowhere while at home with me, and I had to give him CPR. And they performed an MRI and CT scan and determined that he had a brain tumor. Through the course of Marc's 2.5 years battling brain cancer, I was really amazed by Dr. Clause's expertise. And one treatment in particular actually gave us an additional 6 months of Marc's life. And that was a win in the context of a very difficult set of circumstances.
So in July of 2023, started having some tingling and like heaviness in my left arm. And then I started having spasms like all up and down the left side of my body. And then at the end of August, it never returned to normal. So I took myself to the ER and planned to be home by bedtime for my son. And 36 hours later was having brain surgery to remove this tumor. For me, the hardest part is like trying to be the mom that I want to be while not feeling very much like myself. And if I had a crystal ball and I could have seen that I was gonna get sick, I actually think we probably would have chosen not to have a child. And I'm so grateful we didn't make that choice because I wouldn't trade it for where we're at right now.
Not one bit.
Yeah.
I don't think of myself as a survivor, but I just think of myself as just a person who's 8 years out, and I'm gonna be here another 40 years being a pain in the ass to everybody. So when Stan was diagnosed, we started talking sometimes 3 times a week. So he became one of my closest friends. And we spent a lot of time talking about the celebration we were getting. When he got the all clear, we go somewhere and celebrate. And we start trash talking about playing tennis against each other. So I went and took a whole bunch of lessons thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to back up my trash talk during our celebration, which never happened.
When I think about this foundation, I think about we as a community, as a world, we can figure out how to stop, slow down, eradicate this terrible disease. And we have to do it for whomever the next Stan Kurland is. We can't keep losing them to something that is so random. Together, we can make a difference and stop this crazy disease.
Together, we can give to make people's lives better.
Together, we can cure brain cancer.
Together.
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 Together. Together, we can make the difference.